The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Let's talk about the real war on women. First wave feminism was a noble cause, but modern feminists? Well, instead of fighting for, say, paid and protected maternity leave, they want to ban words, shirts, and manspreading. Come on. That's cultural Marxism, which asserts that culture and language is responsible for oppressing women and not the state. The truth is, the state encourages gender wars. It's a divide and conquer tactic designed to keep us fighting amongst ourselves. In fact, the feminist movement was hijacked by the political class to exploit women. As the late Aaron Russo revealed, the Rockefellers bankrolled feminism, and not because they had any interest in women's rights, but because women in the workforce was the ultimate trifecta. The state collects more tax dollars, children are indoctrinated at an earlier age, and the traditional family structure destroyed. Leanne McAdoo reporting for Infowars.com.
I want more candy. I want more video games. Line.
And it's that type of behavior that spurred me to do the research to develop a true nutraceutical formula that was designed to smooth out and help children focus. All of our children are hit with modern mind control. Television, music, fast food, GMOs, sugars, you name it. Young humans have not yet developed their nervous system and are being hammered daily by globalist concoctions. It's no wonder they can't focus and calm down and then are put on dangerous psychotropic drugs. Working with my team, we set out to find the best formula with the highest quality ingredients that children would actually like and take. We worked with the leading manufacturer in nutritional supplements that are safe for children to bring you the most affordable and powerful calming formula out there. Introducing Child Ease with herbs and calming extracts like chamomile and lemon balm and essential nutrients that taste great. Obtain your Child Ease today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's Child Ease exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. On this April 20th, 2015, I'm joined in the studio with Jakari Jackson. And we were just talking in the last segment, Jakari, about how the public's opinion, their understanding of guns has completely reversed in the last couple of years. It really looked like we were going to lose everything, I think, in the wake of Sandy Hook.
So I think that was a tipping point, as you were discussing earlier. And Alex really did go all out. I remember during that time, you and I, we do like a 6-hour broadcast. We went from the day show to the afternoon show, and eventually
skipping commercial breaks, the whole bit.
I mean, it was a very intense time, but I think it was very necessary, a very necessary thing to do, because we see not only with Sandy Hook, but after that, they continue to go after the firearms. You know, they wanted to. Well, they did sue Bushmaster. What else happened? They said that we'll come after the AK-47, the AK-47 rounds. And then you saw the gun sales explode. Obama's gun salesman of the year, we saw that recently again when they were talking about the 223 rounds. So every time these things are exploited and they choose to come after the gun sales go through the roofs. And now people are getting the point that, hey, even if I'm more than likely will probably not be involved in a mass shooting, I want to have a firearm to protect myself should somebody come and kick in my door at 3 in the morning. It doesn't have to be something super sensational. you're walking through a parking lot, somebody tries to shove you in a van.
Yeah.
You pull out a firearm and shoot them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, part of it is just explaining the common sense thing to people that, look, if you've got one person with a gun, okay, or in the case of this shooting in Kenya, for example, they had 4 guys. They killed 150 people.
Right.
They had, I forget how many hundreds they took. Was it 600 or something like that? They took
many people hostage.
Yeah, I mean, it was just incredibly crazy. But, you know, when you've got only one person with a gun and everybody else is disarmed, they're king. You know, and as long as they've got ammunition, they're in charge of it. So people understand if you just point that out to them. Of course, the difference is you never had the mainstream, and they never will point that out. The mainstream media never would point that out to people before, and they never will. But we can have that discussion now.
Such as the shooting, I believe it was in Oregon, where somebody was running through, and a man just pulled out his concealed carry. He didn't even fire it. He just pulled out his gun, aimed it at the guy, and the guy said, "Oh, I give up," and he ended up shooting himself because I guess he didn't want to take the chance of being taken alive. But just simply introducing opposition firearm can completely change the dynamic. And you notice, David, of all the mall shootings, the school shootings, that's the one that you rarely hear about because they don't want to talk about that. The guy who pulled out a gun didn't even have to fire it. He just scared the guy enough to end the massacre.
And I would go even farther, Jakari, because I think it is a key part when we talk about having this discussion about police officers. I think it's a key thing. You and I both went down to the open carry rally in San Antonio. There was a rally there because they had been harassing people who were legally open carrying long rifles. That's legal to do that.
To give a little bit of background on that particular one, there's several things that led up to that. You know, of course, we had C.J. Grisham, who was walking with his son out in the woods. You know, he had a gun. Cop pulls up. "Why do you have a gun?" It's like, "Wild hogs out here. You know, I may get run over." You know, eventually got arrested. Completely bogus charge. And the thing you're talking about in San Antonio, a couple of gentlemen was sitting outside, I believe it was a Starbucks or some type of similar restaurant, open carrying their rifles, which is 100% legal here in the state of Texas. The officers decide to come over and harass the guys anyway. That leads us up to the Alamo, you know, 1,000+ people there. Lo and behold, nobody got shot. I mean, can you believe that, David?
It was very orderly. And the interesting thing was that the police didn't harass anybody
until it was over.
Until it was over. That was the key thing. It was like the police just stayed back. They took pictures of everybody. They're watching us like a hawk and everything. But they left everybody alone until pretty much everybody went. And then you and I saw there was a couple of guys left over, and they went after them again. And so the point being is that for the citizens to be armed is not to make the world more dangerous. The citizens being armed is essentially a check to the police, who are we see over and over again, are using excessive force against the population, who are harassing the population. And just the fact that you have firearms there, as one of the founders said, it restrains evil. The very presence of firearms restrains evil. So it gets the cops into a position where they're not in a bullying mode, okay? They basically respected people. And again, we saw this at the Bundy Ranch standoff.
Right.
There was only a couple of individuals down there on the ground who had guns. They had them holstered. Nobody was even aware of the one individual. That's the only thing they show, the one individual up on the bridge.
That's right.
With the guns. But they had guns trained on us, and they were shouting that they were going to shoot us. And yet the people just calmly walked up there. But it was a deterrence to know that there were people there that had arms. It was also a deterrence that the media was there.
That we need to make, because people say, well, you guys are anti-police or anti-cop. We're not telling anybody to go out there and shoot.
No,
we're just saying the simple fact that these people had firearms, you know, stop the bullying procedures that they were going on previous. They were tasing people, throwing people to the ground, and now they see somebody has a firearm. Okay, maybe it isn't that serious. I have to run up and tackle this guy. They started to think about it in a different way. Exactly.
Changes things altogether. Now, we've got a report up on Infowars.com, a video where a cop shoots a dog in a crowded area. Let's run a little bit of this report, because this is what we have seen on virtually a daily basis. There are so many of these things out there that it is getting hard to not become jaded about this.
Right, and it's not just this one particular incident. I believe Mikhail had a story last week about a police officer shooting a pig.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little
it's going to get him dirty. Pig. I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
So it's going on a lot, and it's one of those things that if you shot at a dog or something, it'd be some big incident. You know, you'd probably get dragged into court and have to deal with all that kind of stuff. But when an officer does it, and the thing about this is, as the guys get ready to play this video, the officer misses the dog at point-blank range. The bullet ricochets and luckily didn't hit anybody. But you have to think, had he ricocheted and hit a child and killed the child, the dog owner would probably be on trial for manslaughter. You know, it'd be something absurd like that.
Well, actually, there was a case similar to that. There was a lady and husband who were having arguments, and they put a restraining order on the lady, which meant that she had to have a police officer escort her back to get her things moved out. And as they were moving out, they got into an argument again, and the dog started barking and ran over, and so the cop pulled out a gun to shoot the dog, missed the dog, and then lost his footing. And as he was falling over, he continued to shoot. I mean, where is the training on this? And shot the lady in the chest and killed her.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, that's not a hypothetical. We've had situations in New York where they were chasing somebody and just started shooting wildly in the crowd. I mean, there has to be some training. We can't have police with a shoot-first mentality and a Barney Fife outlook.
Well, the thing about this, David, you think about mail carriers or other people, pizza men, who regularly encounter dogs. How often do they end up shooting the dog? You know, they're better trained. Right. Lo and behold, a mailman with a can of pepper spray is better equipped to deal with the dog than a police officer with a pistol.
Yeah.
You know, what happened to all this pepper spray? They say they need it as a deterrent. They need the tasers as a deterrent. Why do they have to pull out a gun and shoot, especially in a crowded area as this?
Let's run a little bit of this clip.
Incident.
This is from Brooklyn, New York.
There was a crowd of people gathered outside on Pacific Street watching the police activity, and a lot of officers out there, too. You can see the dog get loose, and at one point, he jumps up on a lieutenant, and then it happens. One officer fires his gun at the dog from point-blank range, but completely misses. The crowd was incensed.
No! No! You wrong! You damn wrong for that!
It didn't dawn on me it was a gun until the shot actually went past my foot, and the spark hit the man behind me, and then everything just really got crazy. Like, yo, you almost shot me.
Are you serious? There's kids out here.
This all started when police came to the home.
Yeah, that's good. Let's look at that.
You're going to open fire in a very crowded area. There are children out there.
Yes.
As I said earlier, had that bullet struck somebody, the dog owner would probably be on trial for having this dog run wild in the streets, not the officer.
So what is the mindset of that officer when he pulls it out? He's not thinking about the crowd. He's not thinking about anybody else. He's simply afraid. And his first response is to use lethal force. And the thing is, that's the way they're being trained. We saw that in New Mexico, where they had a lot of issues. That was where they famously shot the homeless man in the mountains. And at the State Police Academy, a guy who was an experienced teacher there said, we've got a new curriculum. I think it's a shoot-first curriculum, and I refuse to teach it. They wouldn't change the curriculum. He resigned. So there has been a tremendous change in the way the police are being trained and the way we see this. But I think a key thing, again, going back to this Pew report, looking at the actual data, they say Americans now believe that having a gun is the best way to protect against crime. 63% to 30%. That's more than 2 to 1. Think that you're better off protecting yourself against crime. They understand that the police can't be there, and we've had police who are honest who say that. The police chief in Detroit, exactly, says, look, I can't get there quickly enough. We'll try to catch these guys. We'll come as soon as we can, but you need to be able to protect yourself. It's a high-crime area. He says you need to be able to protect yourself, learn how to use it, get a gun, learn how to use it safely, but understand that you have to take care of yourself.
And also, Sheriff Clark in Milwaukee, he said that as well. Because the thing about it is the police, they come there, they don't necessarily know what the situation's going to be. So they get there, it's two guys swinging baseball bats at each other. One's a burglar, one's the homeowner. Know who's doing what. But, you know, if you have that equalizer being the firearm, you may, even if you don't have to shoot the guy, you can get him down on the ground. So you need to surrender before, you know, this escalates any further.
Exactly. Now, the public's change, as reflected in this Pew poll, is showing up in legislative issues. Now, in Texas, we've got a law that now bring me up to date on this, Jakari. I think has it passed, or at what level is it? It hasn't been signed by the governor yet.
The open carry bill. It's running through the House of Representatives, and it was voted on Friday 96 to 35 to allow residents with concealed handgun licenses to openly carry their guns in public. Now, this is not the constitutional carry that they really wanted, but, you know, it's a step in that direction. And this article also goes on to point out that, you know, despite Texas being having a pro-gun reputation, Texas is one of 6 states, including California, New York, and Florida, that currently ban citizens from openly carrying their handguns. Now, to be very clear to people, I guess a lot of people don't understand that here in Texas, you can openly carry a long gun. You can carry a rifle, a shotgun, slung over your hip, or some other way where you're not carrying in a manner calculated to cause alarm is the jargon they use. So what they want to do the gun advocates, and it looks like it's getting some steam behind it, is to carry a pistol on their hip like a police officer does.